Peace and love, my angels. Happy Mother's Day, first and foremost. Um, as you see, I'm dressed up and ready for my Mother's Day. I appreciate you coming and checking out my channel. If you aren't already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on any content when it comes out, and when the new books come out so you won't miss out on those, and when we do events so you won't miss out on that. Make sure you hit the notification bell that says all so you won't be late, because if you're late you might miss it anyway. So anyway, on to the topic of this video. We are discussing honesty and what it means to take back your power. No, ma'am. So, this is going to be an unedited video so that I could stress the importance of honesty and candidness. I don't want anybody to think that I took out anything that I'm trying to hide or particularly like that. So this video is going to be completely unedited. So first, let me give you a little backstory on me. As a lot of you guys who are subscribed to the channel know, you have met me in person and maybe purchased my book or plan on purchasing it at a later date. You guys have most of you have asked me what my book is about. And I always say that the series, The Power of You, is about taking back your inner power and taking responsibility for your life. And I always give a little bit of my backstory to help people comprehend where I'm coming from and what inspired me to write this book so that you can better understand what the book is about. My backstory is I was chronically homeless for 17 years. And to explain what chronically homeless means, that means that you either was homeless for an extremely extended period of time, or you were back and forth from homelessness for an extended period of time. So you don't have to have been consistently homeless the whole time, but if you had a struggle with maintaining stability in a home and you were constantly in a state of homelessness repeatedly, that is considered chronically homeless. That was my situation and circumstances for the majority of my adulthood up until not so long ago. My book was written while I was still homeless, honestly. My book was released while I was technically still homeless. I wasn't outside, nor was I in a shelter, but I was living in a hotel. So I still consider that being homeless because I did not feel at home. Muffy, what's the matter? Que malo? Siéntese. Siéntese. It's okay. So I just want to explain to people or help people comprehend what taking back your inner power means and why I intertwine that with taking responsibility for your own life. For a long time while I was homeless, I was too busy feeling sorry for myself to really help myself. And when I say help myself, I was doing a lot more than some people to help myself. As a matter of fact, the amount that I was doing, it honestly doesn't make sense to a person in their right state of mind. Why a person who does the things that I was doing, who is making the amount of finance that I was making in a short period of time, who had the hustle and grind that I had, why I would be homeless. The reason I was homeless was because I would have that, I would be capable of doing those things, but I had a lot of negative self-talk. I had a lot of pain. I had a lot of hurt. I had a lot of putting the responsibility for all of the things that happened in my life, all of the things that happened to me, around me, on other people, and feeling that I needed somebody to rescue me. I needed somebody to help me. I needed somebody to love me. I went for a long time feeling like I needed a relationship. I couldn't handle the loneliness that I felt being alone. And I felt like, yes, I can make all of this money to pay for hotel rooms, which is super expensive. But I could make this money on a daily basis to get a hotel room. But I would go out and I would make the money. I would make literally just enough money to get the hotel room for that day sometimes. Or sometimes if I didn't feel like doing it every day, I would make just enough money to get me a hotel for a week. And I would stop. I would say, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I don't want to go out here. And I didn't like the way people looked at me. I didn't like the way people talked to me. I didn't like the way people treated me. So I didn't want to subject myself to that, honestly, that abuse. But the fact of the matter is, when you're trying to get something and you're trying to reach a goal, and it's a huge goal, it's a major goal, you can't worry about what other people say or think or feel about you. And you can't take on that energy and those thought processes about yourself and start to feel those things about yourself and expect things to go up and continue to improve. It won't happen. Why? Because it's the law of the universe. Like it's life. It's reality. It's honestly it's science. So I break all of that down in my book, why I say it's science and why I say it's just life and it's the law of the universe. Because what you are speaking on yourself, what you're thinking and what you're feeling about yourself, that's what you're attracting. So I had a lot of negativity with me, even with me not realizing that I had a lot of negativity with me. It used to bother me so much when people would tell me that I was so negative. People would tell me that I was so depressing, that people literally told me the reason why they didn't want to hang around me and why I didn't have any friends. Like, they wanted to be my friend, but it was difficult for them to be my friend because every time I spoke, it was so depressing. It was always, I've been through a lot of stuff. I've been through a lot of depressing things, but every time people got around me, I vomited all of that onto them. And it wasn't my intentions. It wasn't my intentions to make them feel depressed or sad, or it wasn't my intentions to get pity. It was what I felt like it was me venting, but we have to understand what the word venting even means. When you're venting, you're releasing a steam, you're releasing something into the air. But when you're releasing it to somebody, you're pushing that to them. So you have to be careful and mindful how you choose to vent. It's healthy to vent, but you can't just vent everything that you've ever been through in life or everything you've ever seen onto people when you know it's extremely heavy and overwhelming for you. You have to realize that it's going to be overwhelming and heavy for others to take that on as well, especially if they love and care for you. So I'm going to do this video in parts because I'm addressing this topic specifically. I'm hoping that somebody sees this, that commented in my comment section, that deals with a lot of the same things that I dealt with, possibly to a more extreme level. Over the years, I've dealt with being diagnosed with multiple emotional disorders, and that I myself had to learn to get under control. I couldn't put the responsibility on the doctors or the medications and so on and so forth, because we have to realize that even those medications have side effects. Those medications are chemicals, so it's still a form of chemical dependency. It's still a form of drugs. Stop, Muffy. No, ma'am. Stop being destructive. Stop it. Come sit down. So I didn't want to put that responsibility on the doctors, and I definitely did not want to have a chemical dependency of any kind. So I had to learn to look within myself and understand that I had to find the root of what was causing those problems and to fix and heal those things. And so I urge other people to please do the same thing, because you can't help people. Nobody can help somebody who is not ready for that help, who doesn't want the help. And sometimes you may feel like you want the help. I know a lot of people, it used to make me cry. I remember being in tears so many times because I would be coming begging for help. I would be, come here, Muffy, come here. I would be begging for people to come and rescue me, to save me. Organizations that were put out there, stock that are put out there to help people in my circumstances that I was in, that honestly I still feel like are not filling the needs that they should be filling. But the world is what it is, and we have to stop trying to focus on changing other people and work on what you can change within yourself to fix your own problems, because you can't force other people to do anything for you, for themselves, for anybody. You cannot force anybody to do anything unless you put a gun to their head. And even then, if they're a strong-minded person and they're determined enough, even putting a gun to their head is not going to force them to do anything. So that's something that you have to realize. That's something I had to realize. And it's not even about realizing it, because I realized it for a long time, but you have to realize it, but also not allow that reality to hurt you, but allow that reality to help you. My child is trying to be a distraction right now, but I said that this video was going to be unedited and uncut. But and I'm sticking to that. But I had to let myself realize that that fact that was hurting me could actually help me. And how that fact helped me is because I actually set myself down and I started meditating. For one, I started doing yoga and meditating. And in my meditation processes, I realized that I could have that type of mental strength. I could have that type of mental power. And it didn't matter what anybody else thought or felt or said to me or about me. So put it down. Put it back. Muffy, put it back. Come here. Ven aquí. Ahora. And it didn't matter what anybody said to about me or thought about me. All that matters is what I thought about myself. And in my circumstances, it didn't matter what other people were going to do for me. It mattered what I was going to do for me, what I was going to do for me, what I was going to do for myself. So I end it here. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2, and make sure you're subscribed. If you have any comments, feel free to put it down below. Whether it's positive or negative, I'm not going to delete it, but I encourage you to put positive words and energy out into the universe, because what you put out is what you will receive back from the universe, not necessarily from me anymore, because I had to do a lot of self-work. So this is how I'm going to address things, because putting negative energy out has never served me. So I'm going to continue to address things by addressing the topic that's really at hand versus the energy that people may try to spew. With that, I say stay up, stay loved, and stay tuned for part 2. Peace.